Mamas, what if we've been wrong this entire time about vegetables and our thoughts, beliefs, and misconceptions have been doing a disservice to our children? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be going over 10 misconceptions that us moms might have about vegetables and how we can combat them. And make sure that you catch the bonus at the end, because that's where I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks on how you can incorporate vegetables into your children's food without them even noticing it. But first, let me say this. You cannot do better if you don't know better. You can't make changes if you don't know all of the information. So while watching this video, I want you to know that I had some of these misconceptions myself, but I didn't know better. Now, this is why I'm doing this video, to be able to share with you what I went through and also what I saw in the research that I was doing while preparing for this video. So do not feel any way if you had these thoughts, and we're gonna debunk them. We're all in it to learn, and this is why I'm doing this video. This is why I'm here. I'm here to help you out. So let's start off with the first misconception that I hear a lot in my mommy groups. My child doesn't like vegetables, so why even bother? Why put in the effort when they're not even gonna eat it? And I completely understand how frustrating it could be. But I want you to remember, while you were pregnant, and people used to say, oh, whatever you're eating, your child is going to enjoy when they grow up. This is because they're already developing their taste buds while they're inside of our stomach. This is the same thing. When we expose our children to new fruits and vegetables and foods, it develops their taste buds. And it's not going to be a one and done, and then, ooh, they love all these vegetables, because then that would be too simple. What we need to do is we need to expose our children to different vegetables so that we can develop their taste buds and they can decide what is it that they like, what is it that they don't like. Because at the end of the day, we need to realize they're not going to like everything. This is not some kind of miraculous thing where our children love all of the vegetables that we create and life is easy, because then that would just be unrealistic. There are going to be vegetables that they don't like, and then we're going to tackle that at another point in time. The point is, you want to be able to give them the different vegetables so that they can develop their palate, their taste buds, and that they can see what is it that they like, what is it that they don't like. How do you prepare it in a way that they like it or maybe don't like it? And from there, you're going to be able to learn. But we need to expose our children to the different vegetables to get over the fact that they don't like vegetables. Another one that we hear very often is, my child is a picky eater. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, picky eaters are not a thing, because I do have a child that I wouldn't say that he's a picky eater. However, he's very particular. But picky eating can be helped with encouragement. It can be helped with exposure. So if, let's say you give your child broccoli and they're like, oh, I really don't like broccoli, and you stop giving it to them, you're never going to know if they actually do like broccoli and it's just the way that you prepared it that they didn't like. So this is why we need to continue with the exposure. We need to continue to encourage them. And we also need to speak with them and see, what is it about the broccoli that you didn't like? Is it the taste? Is it the texture? Is it the temperature? What is it? And by working with your child, you'll be able to figure out, okay, well, maybe they just didn't like the way that I prepared it. Or maybe I can make it with an extra dip or something that they'll be able to dip it in, and then they'll enjoy it. Now, one that has come up so much lately because of the world that we're living in right now is that vegetables are too expensive to purchase. Now, I'm not going to deny that if you decide to go completely organic and you go to the most expensive grocery store in your area, yes, vegetables will become expensive for you to purchase. However, there are so many different ways that you can cut the cost on vegetables. One, you can purchase vegetables that are in season. When you get vegetables that are in season, that definitely helps to reduce the cost because they're growing everywhere. They're in abundance. And it's the old saying of supply and demand. The fact that there's so much supply out there, the cost is going to be low. Haha, I brought you back to your economics class, right? But by getting vegetables that are in season, you're going to be able to help to reduce the cost. Also, you can decide to get frozen or canned vegetables. That is definitely going to reduce the cost versus getting fresh asparagus when it's not asparagus season. And this is why it's about $12 each time that you purchase it. Along the same lines of vegetables being expensive, I hear sometimes, and I thought this as well, certain vegetables are not good for you when they're canned or when they're frozen. Did you think that? Because I know I thought that. But then I did my research and I found out that a lot of the vegetables, when they are canned or frozen, they're picked at their ripest time. That is the time when we should be picking them, versus some of the fresh vegetables that we get, they're actually picked before they're ready so that by the time they get to us, they're ready. What's better? Right? So sometimes it's really good to get the frozen or the canned vegetables. So that way you can help to reduce your costs, but you also have something that's available that's not going to spoil. You can have it in your cupboard or you can have it in your freezer, and you take it out whenever you need to prepare vegetables for your children. Now, one thing I will mention is that you need to read the ingredients label whenever it comes to packaged foods. So if you're getting canned vegetables, I highly suggest that you look at, not even highly suggest, I really, really implore that you look at the ingredients list to make sure that it's just the vegetable in there. You don't want a lot of sodium in there because a lot of times they add sodium in it to help with the preservatives, right? Another thing that you can do is rinse it. So let's say you buy a can of vegetables and you want to prepare it for your supper. Open up that can, put it in a strainer and rinse it with some water. That way you can get rid of whatever sodium or whatever preservatives that they put inside of the can to help keep the vegetable fresh. Now, when it comes to frozen vegetables, that one should really only be the vegetable. There's not a lot of preservatives that they need to add in frozen bags. So if you see a bag of frozen vegetables that has a whole bunch of things added into it, do not purchase that one, please. Now let's go on to the fifth misconception. This is one that I completely understand. It is too time consuming to prepare vegetables. Now, when it comes to preparing anything, not just vegetables, but actual meals, I get this a lot from my clients where they say, you know, I don't have time for this. It's just so much easier to go and purchase food. Like I can't be cooking all the time, especially, you know, if they're busy, they have extracurricular activities, all this kind of stuff. I completely understand it. But one thing I can honestly say is if you batch produce your food, so if you meal prep on Sunday and also maybe on Wednesday, because if you're like me, you don't like having food, you know, prepared on Sunday that you're going to eat on Friday. I don't like it, but whatever. I get it. Some people do it. But if you batch prepare your food, or you have your children help you prepare your food, or you decide, you know what, I'm going to make a little bit on this day, a little bit on that day, and then the vegetables, I'll just prepare them by chopping them up. And when I'm ready to cook them, they're already chopped up. That is going to help to reduce the amount of time that it takes for you to actually prepare the meals. And it's going to be that much easier and so much more healthy than if you just decide to cook something and not give them any vegetables. One thing I love is going to Costco and getting the bags of broccoli. They're already in a bag. You just pop that into the microwave. I know there's a whole thing with microwaves. You can steam it if you want, because that's definitely a better way to cook it. But if you're short on time, you could pop it in the microwave and then you just put it in your pan with a little bit of coconut oil and a little bit of Himalayan salt. And that way you're giving them vegetables that actually taste good. It's going to taste like coconut and a little salty, not too much salt. And they have vegetables with their meal, and it does not take a lot of time. Not even, 5-6 minutes in the microwave, and then about a minute or two in the pan, and you're done. So to go along with that last point, some moms also worry about the fact that cooking vegetables can lead to nutrient loss. So if there's nutrient loss, why even give it to them? Why is it important to give it to them? Now, there are different ways to prepare your vegetables. Obviously, if you're going to be frying it, if you're going to be boiling it, yes, you're going to lose a lot of the nutrients, especially if you're boiling it, because the nutrients is going out in the water. We don't want that. But if you're going to be steaming it, I know I mentioned microwaving. Some people do not use a microwave. That's totally fine. I completely understand it because it has a whole other side of health that's involved. But if you decide that you want to steam it, you can do that. If you want to roast it into the oven, that is amazing. That's a really good way to be able to provide vegetables to your children in a different texture. Or you can pop it in the air fryer. I love taking broccoli and pop it in the air fryer. It just makes it nice and crispy. So good. Put some cheese on it. Delicious. The important thing to remember when we are cooking our vegetables is just don't overcook it. I have a tendency to do this sometimes because I get a little busy, but we want to make sure that we're not overcooking our vegetables, because then that's when you're going to lose a lot of the nutrients out of it. Now, this one brings me back to my younger days with the Flintstones multivitamins. Now, let me know in the comments if you had Flintstones multivitamins when you were younger. My favorite one was the grape. I love the grape. Anyways, I digress. Some moms are saying, if my children don't eat their vegetables, I could just give them a multivitamin and they'll be good. Now, mind you, those Flintstone vitamins were not good either. They were not healthy for us, but our parents didn't know. They thought they were doing something really good for us. And it's the same thing with us. We think we're doing something really good for our children, but now we're gonna know better. Yes, multivitamins are very good to give to our children. We do have to look into the quality of the multivitamin because a lot of them have fillers, but that's for a whole different video. Multivitamins are good. However, it does not contain all of the nutrients that are in whole foods. We need to be able to give our children whole foods so that they could get the nutrients, they could get the fiber, they could get everything that they need from the actual vegetable that you're not going to get from a multivitamin. Now, this is a big one. Some children only like vegetables when they're cooked in an unhealthy way. Do you think that way? Let me know, because that would be like, they only eat chicken wings and chicken nuggets and French fries. If we give them other things, they might eat that too, right? So if we decide that we're going to make the vegetables in a way that's really unhealthy, yeah, maybe our children would like it, our children would eat it. But if we decide that we're going to make it in a healthy way, but then add flavor onto it that's going to make it delicious, then they're going to eat it. At the end of the day, we just need to realize that we could take a vegetable and make it taste so good by adding flavors to it. I'm not just talking about steaming your vegetables and giving it to them just like that. Yeah, sometimes it's good, but then after a while that becomes boring. So just take a few seasonings, put some Himalayan salt on there, put a little bit of coconut oil if you want. You could put some oregano, whatever, just to add some flavor onto the vegetables, and your children will eat it. Now, this is one that, if only this was the truth, my child will outgrow their dislike of vegetables. How exactly will they outgrow their dislike of vegetables if we do not expose them to the vegetable? They're not going to. Out of sight is out of mind with everything. So if we decide that we're just not going to give them vegetables anymore because they don't like it, and eventually when they become older, they're going to miraculously say, hey, I never had this thing. Let me have it. Or the last time I had it, I didn't like it. Let me try it again. That's not going to work. We need to be able to expose our children to foods multiple times to get them used to it, so that at the end, when they are adults and they're out there in the real world without us, they're going to make proper choices and they're going to choose to have some vegetables. They might not have as many as you would give them, but at least you know that you've set them up on the right path and they're going to love their vegetables when they grow older. And for the moms that have older children, I know you might be thinking, it's too late. My child is old. My child is a tween or a teen, almost into adulthood. They're not going to start eating their vegetables now. And I'm telling you, it is not too late. It is not too late to be able to introduce your child to different vegetables that are out there. You're still the one that's bringing the food into the household, and you're still the one that's preparing it for them and putting it on their plate. So it's up to you to be able to put the different vegetables on their plate that they're going to see. Maybe I didn't like this when I was 2, but now that I'm 12, it's very different. I know there's some times where I eat something and I'm like, either this tastes familiar, or I think, I never noticed this taste profile before. So this is why it's really important to be able to give your children different vegetables at different times in their life, because their taste buds evolve. Now, I promised earlier that I was going to help you sneak vegetables into your children's food without them even realizing it. So let's say you're having a real struggle and your children are just not having it. You still want to be able to give them the nutrients that are coming from the vegetables. Obviously, the best way is for them to eat it knowingly, so that they understand what they're doing and that they know, okay, I'm eating vegetables. However, there are some times that you're going to need to sneak it in. And what I have for you is a free guide that gives you 5 recipes that sneaks vegetables into their foods. You can download that free guide by going in the description below, click on this QR, or go to mommynmewellness.com/3, and then you'll be able to find the guide right there, and you can download it and use it tomorrow. If you decide to make one of these recipes, please tag me on social media, Mommy and Me Wellness, and I will be able to give you a virtual high five for, sneaking some vegetables into your children's food and being a ninja in the kitchen. Now, working through our thoughts and our mindset about vegetables is not going to be easy, but you're doing the hard work. You're here right now. You're watching this video. Hopefully you're taking notes and you're seeing how you can apply this in your household. Now, it's not going to be a one and done. You're not going to miraculously cook your next meal with some vegetables in it, put it on your child's plate, and they're going to be like, yay, mommy, this is amazing. That would be too easy. But it is something that you're going to have to work on continually and keep exposing them to the different flavor profiles. However, there is one simple habit that you can incorporate tomorrow when your children wake up that is going to help to improve their focus throughout the day. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to want to check out this video here so that you can see what is that simple habit that you can incorporate to your children. It's very easy and we all have it. There's nothing for you to buy. And this is something that you're going to be able to start tomorrow to help them with their day.